Welcome to Gaia's Calling, where stories ignite your spirit and the earth whispers her secrets. I'm Brad Swift, a write-on-purpose author of eco-fiction and nonfiction, inviting you to become an eco-guardian. Together, let's explore the wonders of our world and take action to protect them. Listen closely. Gaia is calling. And Gaia's call today is loud and clear. Facing the Metacrisis. And this, my friends, is a new Substack mini-series. Naming what's been emerging all along. So I'd like to start with a bit of a prologue. Over the past few weeks, I've found myself writing with more raw urgency, a deeper honesty, and a renewed commitment to speaking the truth about the world, at least as I see it, and how we find ourselves in it. What I hadn't fully realized until very recently is that these recent pieces weren't just one-offs. They were the beginning of a new arc. So today I'm officially naming that arc, Facing the Metacrisis. Now, the term metacrisis points to more than just a really big problem. It refers to the convergence and interlinking of multiple existential threats: ecological, political, cultural, economic, technical, and yes, even spiritual. Now, while some call it polycrisis or civilizational collapse, or the great unraveling, I believe is another term, or even the long emergency, the idea is the same. What we face is not a single issue, but a breakdown of the systems that once held modern life together. And beneath that breakdown is a breakdown in our thinking, our worldview, and our relationship with the earth. This series will run alongside my main One Cause series, and it may or may not find its way into a final One Cause book, if there is even such a book, who knows. But the call to write these reflections has become too loud to ignore. And I'm missing my sleep because of it. So, we are living through a convergence of crisis: climate, politics, economy, culture, meaning, and spirit, all feeding and amplifying each other. That convergence is what many now call the metacrisis. And we need to face it, not just with information, but with imagination, not just with outrage, but with purpose. So far, the series includes Before Collapse, choosing to be a part of the Great Turning. That was available on April the 2nd. Can I Be Fierce? Wrestling with Politics and Purpose. That was published on April 9th. Can We Face the Truth Without Losing Hope? Was just the other day on April 19th. And so now here we are in the fourth installment. Losing at the Wrong Game. Facing the Metacrisis, entry number 4. Like many of you, I've been watching with heartbreak and frustration as cracks in the foundation of American democracy widen. Friends are posting in fear, outrage, and grief, not just about one candidate or election, but about the very soul of our country. And I get it. I feel it too. And yet, there's another layer of truth I feel called to name. Yes, we are watching democracy collapse, or at least convulse. But what if the system we're fighting to preserve isn't capable of carrying us forward? What if even a return to normal isn't a path to regeneration, but a return to extractive economics, ecological blindness, systemic injustice, and spiritual disconnection? We're fighting to win a system that may no longer be the right game. What if the very rules we're defending were designed for a different world, one that really no longer exists? Now, this may sound theoretical, but it's not. On April 9th, 2025, the current U.S. administration issued an executive order that effectively dismantles decades of environmental protection through what's being called zero-based regulatory budgeting. This move doesn't just signal a shift in policy, it's a signal flare from the Metacrisis itself, a deepening collapse of our societal immune system. I'll be sharing more about this executive order and what it means in the upcoming article, but for now, let's just keep going with this question. What if business as usual will end up in the loss of all that we hold most dear? So the deeper game. Democracy as we've known it, especially here in the U.S., was forged in an age of colonization, patriarchy, and infinite growth economics. It was never built for a post-carbon, ecologically interdependent, spiritually pluralistic civilization. To be clear, I'm not arguing for giving up on justice, agency, or participation. Quite the opposite. But we must recognize that saving the system may not be enough because the system itself was part of the problem. As Amanda Scott noted in a recent Accidental Gods podcast episode, and there's a link on my Substack to her and to that podcast, even a return to traditional democracy doesn't get us to the root. We need new political imaginations that, number one, prioritize bioregional stewardship and local resilience. Number two, uses deliberative, consensus-driven assemblies like citizens' councils or wisdom circles. Also, that recognize nature as a stakeholder, not a resource, and value inner development, not just GDP or voter turnout. These aren't utopian dreams. They're already being prototyped in indigenous governance models, in climate adaptation networks, and in experiments like donut economics, deep democracy, and the Well-Being Economy Alliance. Again, there are links in the show. So, rather than simply fighting for what was, what if we, well, first, mourn the loss of what we thought democracy could be. Secondly, acknowledge its limits. And then start building what comes next. Hope isn't in the system, it's in us. Hope doesn't live in headlines, and it doesn't live in the systems that brought us here. It lives in us, in our courage to grieve what's dying and our willingness to imagine what could be born. The metacrisis is real, but so is the possibility that we can meet it with depth, dignity, and courage. Not by pretending it's all okay, and not by clinging to a dying order, but by becoming the kind of humans this moment asks for, begs for, and demands. One grounded in purpose, rooted in place, connected across generations, and willing to build and rebuild with love. This isn't about giving up on democracy. It's about growing up through it and beyond it. We may be losing at the old game, but we still have time to start playing the right one. Are you with me? Well, if so, let's talk. What resonates for you in this reflection? What new rules or visions do you believe our next political paradigm should include? Share your thoughts in the comment section here on Substack. And share this post with someone who's struggling to make sense of today's political chaos. Maybe it's time we stop trying to win a broken game and start creating a new one. And yes, thanks for reading Unleashed, W. Bradford Swift. There's really a shift unfolding, and it needs your voice and your friends, so please share this post. And subscribe to stay in the loop on future Facing the Crisis entries and others' reflections from the One Cause journey. And for more information, Here are some voices naming the Metacrisis. And again, I invite you, if you're listening to this as a podcast, to go to my Substack to really learn and connect with these people. These thought leaders and organizations are speaking directly to the interconnected crisis of our times. There's Joanna Macy on the Great Turning and the work that reconnects. Daniel Schumachtenberger on systems collapse and the Metacrisis. Rupert Reed, author and speaker on climate realism and transformative adaptation. Charles Eisenstein on sacred economics, climate, and cultural healing. And then again, Amanda Scott, Accidental Gods, Future Visioning, and Regenerative Politics. And let's forget Rob Smith and Ken Wilber of Integral Life, exploring integral frameworks for complex times. And Brian Johnson of Heroics, offering tools for living with virtue, meaning, and heroic purpose. May these voices offer you clarity, courage, and a compass as we navigate the turning of the age. With fierce love and quiet hope, this is Brad, also known as Grand Dude. And P.S. Again, on my Substack, here's why I do what I do, why I speak up, why I write, why I refuse to stay silent. These two tiny little humans, pictured below, remind me that this is not just about collapse. It's about legacy. It's about love. It's about whether we have the courage to face the Metacrisis, not with panic, but with purpose. Take care. And hug a loved one today.